There was a lot of debate on how I wanted to do this first episode. I knew that I wanted to tell my story and set the tone for the rest of the series. Welcome to episode 1 of Be the Mentality. I am your host, Catherine Diane Meyer, known by most as Katie Meyer. My first guest today is my father, Steve Meyer.
Wait, I'm the first guest?
You're the first one, my guy. I've been kind of chewing on this. What do you think a lesson is that someone just has to learn on their own?
Life is not easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sports is hard. You lose. You make a horrible mistake. School is hard. You have things that happen. After some type of failure, whether it's in sports or your schoolwork or your career, that if you just keep grinding and remain open-minded, it may actually be an opportunity to do something else.
He drove all the way here to do this and to hang out with me tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, what a good journey. And I think there's still a lot left to it.
Stanford community trying to make sense of the tragic death of the captain of the women's soccer team.
Officials have confirmed 22-year-old Katie Meyer was found dead in a campus residence.
This is the story of Katie Meyer.
Are you going to make a movie for me?
505.
Of what she dreamed of and worked for.
It was just like a different type of joy to know that like I was playing for Stanford, representing the school that I loved, the school that was like my dream.
And what happened when that dream was threatened.
Put quite simply, I want to change the world.
She was driven to graduate from there. That didn't happen.
It was a process of picking up the breadcrumbs along the way. We were like, how? Why? What happened?
I was just there, like 2 weeks prior.
Love you, Kelly.
Love you too, Dad. I knew that I wanted to set the tone, so I thought I would start with my own story.
I don't know if other moms do this, but I was very old school. This was before, you did everything online, and I did I did old school Christmas cards, mailed them out with the stamp and a picture of the kids. It's their story of growing up.
Where's Katie Meyer? Bonk.
She was a wild child in the sweetest way. She always had that little glimmer of mischief in her eye.
Growing up, we did everything together. She was very spunky and outgoing, and I was more shy.
Daddy, want me to do the Katie dance?
Sure. There was one time we were in the backyard, and Katie wanted to be the goalkeeper. And there really wasn't even a goal behind her. She just like, I'm standing here, try to kick the ball past me, was her order. And I'm maybe 20 feet away from Katie, and I kick it, but I hit it really hard. It blasts her in the chest, knocks her down. I'm like, go running over to her, like, oh my God, you know, and she just gets up and she goes, is that all you got? If she blocks it, it's over.
Really?
Yes!
Yeah! After I became a goalkeeper, I was obsessed. It's just like, you have to be willing to put yourself in front of the ball when like human instinct wants you to get out of the way. And for some reason, I'm not afraid of that.
When did Katie express to you what her aspirations were as it related to soccer?
Probably those first couple years of club, 12, 13 years old, she knew, like, this is what I want to do. I think she had realized I can do this in college, you know, if I want to. She really drove it.
I saw right away I wanted to help her if she wanted it, which she did.
It was my dad sitting there on his knees in the grass, and I would just pass into his hands. I was super fortunate to grow up in a household where it's like, you can do whatever you want to do.
Nice.
And so when you know that two people, my mom and dad, had my back that much, it was super easy for me to throw everything into soccer because I loved it. And I knew that if something happened, they would still have me.
505.
That created such a boldness in me that it was like, I can really do anything.
As a 15-year-old, Katie made the U.S. Youth National Team and was widely recruited by Division I programs.
Oregon was one, UCLA was one, and Stanford was one. I would say those were the top three. She loved Stanford. She walked onto that campus, and I think it was, you know, that feeling in your gut. She's like, this is it. She just felt like this was home.
I just wanted to call to tell you that Stanford is where I want to be. I'm ready to verbally commit. I want to join the Cardinal. I'm excited to be there.
I'm from very simple Midwestern roots, and to have raised a daughter that was signing to go to Stanford was a nice moment as a dad. I was so happy for her. It fit the textures of her personality of high achiever, not just as an athlete.
She was boisterous, for sure, kind of always the loudest voice in the room, but very authentic. That's what we all loved about her, is just she was so true to herself. You know, I think players face a lot of situations that can cause nerves or cause anxiety, and I'm sure Katie felt that at times, but rather than shy away from it, she would just like run right towards it.
In 2019, Katie's redshirt freshman year, she started 16 games.
Katie Meyer, her third shutout of the season. This was total domination by Stanford.
And helped lead the Cardinal to the Final Four.
I think goalkeeping is one of the most pressure-filled positions on the field.
UCLA, though, looking to add some firepower, and they will! Katie Meyer just unable to get a hand on it. Thinks she could parry that one over the bar.
You can do everything right and no one will notice. And you make one mistake and it's the end of the world.
There's no way that they just scored 7 minutes in. Like, all the doubt is going through my head. And then a different UCLA player runs past me and just goes, it's the keeper. We scored because of the keeper. We're already down, and I knew it was my fault.
Katie knew that she had made a mistake. She also knew that in order to get us back in the game or keep us in the game, she was going to have some big moments.
It's 3-1, and there's about 40 seconds left in the half.
Hit the ground, penalty kick on the way for the Bruins.
So none other then the player that was just talking after her team scored steps up to take the PK.
So it'll be the freshman, official.
I was like, they cannot score. You have to save this PK.
Official, it is saved! What a moment for Katie Meyer!
I get up and I walk up to her and I go, is it the keeper? Is it the keeper?
It was one of those moments you either loved it or you hated it. I probably just shook my head like this, knowing that that was very Katie.
It's just kind of who I am. I'm a very like outwardly portrayed person. It was almost a slap in the face that I needed to propel me through the rest of the College Cup. To be like, no, now it's personal.
And now the Cardinal can celebrate as they have a date with the North Carolina Tar Heels in the National Championship game on Sunday. Stanford, North Carolina.
The stadium, I hear it to this day. I can close my eyes and hear it, where it's just, go, Stanford, like echoing throughout the stadium.
Takes her shot, oh, what a save! Russo's shot is blocked.
Through two 45-minute halves and extra time, Stanford and North Carolina remain scoreless.
And now we get ready for penalties. Love that from the goalkeeper, Katie Meyer. You do your job, I'll do mine.
I was just thinking, we've already saved one in the College Cup. Like, let's prove it wasn't a fluke. This is why I came here.
When things got hard, that's when she really came alive.
It's hard not to feel your heart beating through your chest no matter where you are watching this. Otto can't get it. Saved by Meyer.
A lot of people think Katie was really cocky or could come off as arrogant. She was just confident. She told us, she's like, I had to show my team that I was good, because if I was good, they were going to get those kicks in.
So we are even.
It's a tone.
Tori Hansen now to kick. Shootout for Meyer. And now a national championship on the line.
It was like the best feeling I've ever known. It was just a different type of joy to know that like I'd earned my spot and I was playing for Stanford, like representing the school that I loved, the school that was like my dream. That was definitely the best day of my life.
She was just like a huge role model to like all of me and my friends.
Yeah, like a scissor. That's brilliant.
When we were all in middle school, having Katie there completely changed our perspective of soccer because that made it like the fun thing we got to do that day during COVID.
We always just called her Mama Lion. She was so protective of the goal, but it extended past that. I think a big part of her personality was just being fiercely loyal to her friends and teammates. Like, literally, she would do anything for you.
She really strived to kind of bring that out in other people. So she could tell that you were being a little reserved. She would go out of her way to be like, come on, let's go. Like, just to give you that energy, give you that confidence to really step out of your shell.
Steve always would tell her stuff like, protect the meek, you know, speak up for those that can't speak up for themselves.
These dreams that we have for ourselves, they start with the strengths that we already have.
As a senior in 2022, Katie announced she would return for her 5th year at Stanford.
Hi, Mom. How are ya?
On top of the upcoming soccer season and her newly formed podcast.
Love you, Katie.
Love you too, Dad.
You're the best.
Thanks, man. You're the best.
Katie submitted an application to her dream law school.
She had applied at Stanford. It was the only school she applied to. She was like Miss Stanford, that child. But she hadn't heard yet, yes or no. And as she understood it anyway, she should have at least heard no by that point in time, and she was stressing her out. And I just said, you know what, sweetie, just let it go. Maybe it's not gonna happen.
Katie and I talked all the time. She loved FaceTime for some reason. She liked seeing my face. Sam got home from work, and then Sienna came home, and then Steve came home, and they were talking. So everyone got to talk to Katie.
She was in her room, and she was great. She was excited about some spring break plans that she had made.
She was gonna come home first, spend a couple days with us, then go to Mexico, then come home. So we had to coordinate the airline tickets. It was just like very, like, normal, wonderful conversation.
I was in my car, I got a call from a friend of hers. And he said, she's gone. And it didn't even add up to me. Like, I go, what do you mean she's gone? And I took a moment and tried to process what I was told, and it just didn't comport with reality at all.
What were you told?
That she was dead in her dorm room. I was just there, like 2 weeks prior. We were just on the phone with her the night before, and she seemed great. Maybe she got hit on her bike. Maybe she got in some type of accident when we first heard that she was gone, but it didn't seem possible with her that it would be a suicide.
Steve is, wailing. She's gone. And I'm not understanding. And I'm just saying, what are you saying? I don't understand. I didn't understand what he was saying to me. It was the worst phone call in your life you could ever imagine. It's every parent's nightmare.
That drive It usually takes about 6 hours. That drive felt like 6 months.
It was a lot of silence, a lot of crying, still not believing that this is happening.
I opened the door and I'm looking for signs of darkness. Maybe things are disheveled all over the place. Nothing. Just like it always was. Just like it was on the FaceTime call the night before. Nothing at all. And going through drawers, looking for anything. Looking deeper and deeper and deeper. Anything. Nothing. 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 Nothing.
Never in a million years would this kid take her own life. And we were like, how? Why? What happened? Like, just trying to piecemeal it together.
There was a note. Did it provide any clarity?
The only clarity I got was she referred to being so scared. And that was not our kid as we knew her. So it was, again, very confusing at that point in time.
When did you start to realize there's more happening here?
Another day maybe went by, and a very wise friend of ours said, "Where's her computer?" And we said, "It's in her room. We haven't touched anything yet." He's like, "Get that computer open."
On Katie's computer screen was an email from Stanford that contained a 5-page-long charging letter she had received the night of February 28th. The email was from Stanford's Office of Community Standards, often referred to as OCS. The office is responsible for overseeing and enforcing the university's standards of conduct for students. The letter highlighted that Katie was being charged with a violation, which could result in her removal from the university, and that a hold was being placed on her degree.
It was tabbed, like it was the last, you could tell. She had opened it, and then she was doing a search on how to represent myself in a student trial, she was frantically searching. I felt like it was a process of picking up the breadcrumbs along the way to kind of find out what happened and how this happened and how did we not know.
Steve and Gina Meyer hired a legal team to help uncover what happened in Katie's final months. Through their findings, which would later form the basis of a lawsuit against the university, the Meyers discovered that Katie had been the subject of a 6-month-long disciplinary investigation at Stanford.
They really had no idea what had happened, and they were just trying to piece things together.
It all started in late August 2021. A freshman on the women's soccer team came to Katie and other teammates upset, saying she had experienced an unwanted sexual advance from a Stanford football player in a dorm stairwell.
I think there was some moment of implied intimacy that she denied and didn't want. And then there was a moment of, no one can really see us here. And I think that moment made her feel really uncomfortable. And that was the piece that was really, I think, jarring for everybody.
The next day, a Stanford strength coach reported the incident to administrators, who forwarded the report to the Title IX office, which handles cases of sexual harassment and sexual assault. 1 week later, on August 28th, Katie was riding her bike on campus when she came in contact with the football player.
I think Katie, being that mama lion, a captain, spilled coffee on him.
He went to the trainer to get checked out. He didn't make any formal complaints. what turned out to be is he had something like that was red like a sunburn, is how it was described in the records.
She protected people, and that's what happened there. I'm not saying what she did is right. Do I wish she would have had a different solution? Of course. Of course.
Katie was asked by the Dean of Residential Life, Lisa Caldera, to talk with her about it.
During an interview with Caldera, Katie described the coffee spill as an accident. Separately, the football player contended Katie spilled the hot coffee intentionally in retaliation for the alleged incident with her teammate.
Ultimately, the dean decided that she would write a formal complaint to the OCS department and ask them to investigate Katie further for the coffee spill.
After gathering statements from others, Caldera lodged the concern in part because she suspected Katie was not telling the truth about what happened.
Why is that a decision made by the dean?
That's a great question. That's not normally how it works. A petitioner in a disciplinary process oftentimes is the person who is harmed. The student was very clear in writing, in person, saying that he did not want anything harmful to happen to her. He just wanted this to kind of be put behind him. He didn't want to proceed with any claim.
On September 17, 2021, Associate Dean of OCS Tiffany Gabrielson sent a letter to Katie informing her that a concern has been filed about you with our office in regards to a possible violation of the fundamental standard. As a private institution, Stanford has broad authority to self-govern their disciplinary procedures. Their fundamental standard is the university's Code of Conduct, which has existed since 1896. It states, students at Stanford are expected to show both within and without the university such respect for order, morality, personal honor, and the rights of others as is demanded of good citizens. Failure to do this will be sufficient cause for removal from the university.
She didn't tell us. Probably was a little embarrassed, probably was a little, wanted to handle it herself.
Meanwhile, the Stanford Title IX office did not move forward with an investigation into the football player because Katie's freshman teammate did not submit a formal complaint. There was no further disciplinary action taken against the football player. Katie, on the other hand, met repeatedly with OCS over the next several months. Through her statements to them, she expressed, quote, "I have been stressed out for months, had to check the OCS box on my graduate program application, and have been terrified that an accident will destroy my future. I'm not sure how far this case will go, but I have been so scared for months that my clumsiness will ruin my chances of leaving Stanford on a good note." According to the Myers complaint, during this time, Katie was also meeting with the Stanford Athletics Sports Psychology Department. In a November 22nd session, the day after Katie submitted her statement to OCS, the Myers complaint contends that she was experiencing increased depression symptoms associated with perceived failure and endorsed suicidal ideations. When E60 asked if Stanford mental health professionals relayed Myers' alleged suicidal ideation to Stanford's OCS department, Stanford University replied, quote, "The mental health professionals Katie Meyer was seeing did not believe she was at risk for suicide. In any event, Katie did not give permission for them to disclose what was discussed in their sessions."
She just never gave the impression that there was something she couldn't conquer or she couldn't overcome. She didn't seem to hide anything from anybody. And so I think that was the other shock. It's like, how could someone like that be going through something so impactful and powerful and none of us have any idea?
Over the next 3 months, between November 21st and February 25th, Katie did not hear from OCS.
She thought this was over when she went home for break. This was behind her. She thought it was over until late February.
February 28th was the final day that Stanford could charge Katie.
Stanford is required under their own policies and procedures to act on a potential cause 6 months from when it occurs. That was the last hours that they had to do anything about it.
That night, 2 hours after FaceTiming with her family, at 7:02 p.m., Katie received an email from Associate Dean Gabrielson stating, quote, "The charging standard in this matter is met."
She got an email from the disciplinary office threatening not only her degree, which she was going to be getting in 3 months, but being at the school, expulsion. Kind of threatened everything.
She would be put on trial, that she was going to have to go to a hearing. It said that we've made a decision that a panel could find that you violated the fundamental standards. The OCS department was closed. The mental health services were closed. The only thing that they claim is available is Dean on call. Well, who's going to call Dean on call when it's a dean who wrote the complaint against you?
At 7:11 p.m., Katie responded to the OCS email. "Obviously, I am shocked and distraught. When can you both meet in order to discuss next steps? I want this resolved as smoothly as possible. Warmly, Katie Meyer." At 7:48 p.m., Associate Dean Gabrielson responded to Katie's email with available times to discuss the charge. Katie replied at 7:49 p.m., choosing the following Thursday morning, March 3rd. At 7:52 p.m., Associate Dean Gabrielson sent a calendar invite for the meeting, and Katie accepted it.
I think in that moment, what I can only imagine is that Katie probably saw that and just panicked and just went into sheer panic mode. Like, my life is over. I'm not going to get into law school. I'm going to get expelled. Everything I've been working for. I think she couldn't process.
Forensic findings from Katie's laptop left a trail.
What we know from reviewing her computer and the toggling back and forth, she was looking at the files, going into witness statements, coming out of those, going into how do I defend myself in an OCS proceeding. A lot of back and forth. She did attempt to call Jonathan Deemer, who was her ex-boyfriend and a law student at the time, who had kind of given her guidance throughout this process. He didn't answer. He attempted to call her back, but wasn't able to reach her.
The following morning, March 1st, Katie was found dead in her dorm room. According to the autopsy report, the cause of death was suicide. She was 22 years old.
I think it was a very impulsive moment. And I think if she could have taken it back, she would have. Because this was not our kid. This was not our kid. And it just breaks my heart, that we didn't know, It breaks my heart. It will always be broken because we didn't know that she was going through this.
Do we all wish she would have screamed or yelled or ran down the hallway or called us? Everybody in her life wishes that. Every single person. And I think that's where we're all learning a little bit about suicide, how it can just overtake a person. They can't see. It may not sound rational to us, but we're not in that moment. We're not them,
In November of 2022, Steve and Gina Meyer filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Stanford University. The lawsuit claimed that Stanford's handling of the disciplinary matter against Katie Meyer was conducted, quote, negligently and recklessly.
The actions that led to Katie's ultimate death began and ended at Stanford.
According to the lawsuit, the Meyers claim that Stanford's systematic failures in its OCS and other departments resulted in severe emotional distress, causing Katie's death. Stanford University declined E60's interview request, stating, "We are not able to have anyone appear on camera." In email responses to questions from E60, Stanford University described Katie's death as, quote, a tragedy, and said, "We continue to respond to the litigation brought by the family." In its court filings, one of the university's defenses points to a class presentation Katie rehearsed the week before she died. They say Katie chose to make her final oral presentation about her years before Stanford and growing up with controlling parents and pressure to be perfect.
Looking back, do you think Katie felt pressure from you and Gina?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Does any kid feel pressure from their parents? Do your homework. Be nice. Treat others like you'd like to be treated. I guess so, if that's the case. But I don't quite know what they're getting at here at all, to be honest. It hurts my heart a little bit, to be honest with you, that they're marching down this road when we've lost our daughter.
In Stanford's reply to the Meyer complaint regarding how Katie reacted to the notice of charge email from OCS, Stanford states, "Any reasonable person would consider Katie's suicide a highly unusual, extraordinary response to the situation. The Stanford defendants did not know and had no reason to expect that Katie would act in this manner." What is your response to that?
There's no denying they knew that their process could cause distress, could cause harm. For decades, Stanford was on notice because of the other studies and the other students who were expressing serious concern.
All the students know the office of OCS. They're all scared. That's the one consistency. There's a power imbalance. They don't really know who to turn to. They don't have resources. Most of them are afraid to tell their parents because it is so embarrassing to them and humiliating.
Bob Otley is a civil trial lawyer and one of the founders of the Student Justice Project, a group of Stanford students, parents, and alumni seeking to reform Stanford's disciplinary procedures.
The reputation stems from the fact that the folks who run that office and the folks who oversee them take in cases and then act sort of as a prosecutor trying to drive towards a conviction. They're supposed to be neutral administrators and process the case fairly, helping the accuser, helping the accused, but they don't do that.
Beginning in 2011, Otley presented Stanford with multiple case studies that identified what he saw as key flaws with their OCS process. The studies included student testimonials describing a prosecutorial system that often presumed guilt.
24 people were able to write testimonials. Both of these documents tell them everything they need to know. It tells them how their system traumatizes their students. They've known about this for over a decade.
After repeated calls for reform, Stanford University began its own internal review of the Student Judicial Charter beginning in 2019. In 2021, an interim report from its committee found that the university's process, quote, relies on a one-size-fits-all approach that is overly punitive.
The report said it was punitive because it focuses on punishment. It doesn't focus on education. And yet a year later, she's going through the same system that they haven't even fixed.
When E60 asked Stanford if OCS is still sending after-hours emails, and separately asked if they have instituted changes in their OCS procedures, Stanford twice replied, "The overall OCS procedures have changed significantly." In the spring of 2023, Stanford ratified changes to its judicial charter. 1 year after Katie Meyer died.
We had to come up with something that hopefully another young person and their family and their campus community would not have to feel this pain. Maybe there's a way.
In the months following Katie's death, Steve and Gina Meyer established the foundation Katie Save, which fights for systemic changes at colleges and universities to promote mental health, protect students, and prevent suicide. After more than a year of work through their foundation, the Meyers took it one step further.
Much like Katie, being bold and just taking a risk, we took it and tried the legislative route.
We worked with the Meyers for a couple of years to think about what would be a bill that could really help young people that are going through a difficult time in college. AB 1575 requires that any student that goes through a disciplinary process is allowed to choose an advisor to go through the process with them. The schools are obligated to make sure that that advisor is trained in the process. AB 1575 is Katie Meyer's law.
So, we must see that this bill gets passed.
This bill will help to ensure all future students and universities get the support they may desperately need when dealing with a stressful or challenging Title IX, sexual assault, disciplinary action. We truly believe this bill could have saved Katie's life.
After 2 years of work, AB 1575 was passed unanimously by the California State Legislature.
As a bill goes along in the state of California, when it passes the final Senate vote and the Assembly concurrence vote, then it goes to the governor for his signature. Mm-hmm. And part of our education was, oh, by the way, you need to write a letter to request the governor's signature. Dear Governor Newsom, mm-hmm. we are reaching out to you today, not just because you are governor, but because you have a family. Our daughter Katie was an outstanding student athlete at Stanford. Mm-hmm. Katie died by suicide in her dorm room on March 1st, 2022.
We, along with Assembly Member Irwin and her staff, have endeavored to turn our pain into purpose with a common sense law to hopefully prevent a tragedy like this from ever visiting a good young person, their family, friends, and campus community ever again.
On September 28th, 2024, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed Katie Meyer's Law.
I have a journal that I've kept. I wrote in there after the law passed, and I kind of talked to her through that. Basically said, honey, you wouldn't believe this. There is a law in your name. She loved butterflies. She loved the whole idea of this caterpillar in the cocoon that turns into something beautiful, a transformation. I think you can always have transformation,
I go on my walks and I talk to God and I talk to her. Sometimes I talk to her about the day. Sometimes I talk to her about her sisters. It's probably my way of coping a little bit and keeping that relationship with her is just talking to her. Yeah.
I will lay down in the middle of the day and literally close my eyes and just go through memories.
Where's Katie?
Hey, what is he?
Nice. That face on her, when I'd roll up and she'd already be outside.
Love you.
Love you too, Dad.
You're the best.
Thanks, man. You're the best.
I miss her every second of every day.
I still feel like she's definitely like with us and watching over us and cheering us on and rooting for all of us. Sunscreen, toiletries have to go in.
Are you just vlogging it?